Cleveland Browns rumors coming at you here at Chat Sports. Mitchell Renz. On today's video, we're breaking down 3 Browns players that just simply need to step up their game. Now, this is also based off of an article, so we're going off their rankings, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this. The number 3 player that needs to step up, it's Odell Beckham Jr. He had season-ending ACL injury last season, and any time you see a significant injury like that to a player as fun as OBJ, all right, man, like I obviously I hope he comes off, he can be a little bit better. Mayfield, he really went off after Beckham went down. I mean, his connection with Rashad Higgins was pretty electric. Higgins ended up having 599 receiving yards and only started in 1 game before Week 11. But you have to admit this, he really has not put up that production since leaving the Giants. When you go back and look at some of his best years, I'll say it's been since 2016 since we've seen the OBJ that we think of. And, I mean, think about that, y'all. Like, that's 5 years ago. What were you doing 5 years ago? In 2016, I lived in Germany. I didn't work here at Chat Sports, and I was playing professional baseball for beer. Literally, I got paid in beer. But 101 receptions, over 1,300 yards. I get that he's got the name, but that's not the production that you're getting. I mean, look at these numbers in 2020. Again, he got injured, but like 23 catches on 43 targets. The chemistry is not there with Mayfield. I'm sorry, it's not. 319 yards and 3 touchdowns. So am I sitting here telling you, yeah, this guy absolutely needs to be able to step up? 100%. So when you really think about it, he's 28 years old, and I get he's been in the league for so long. But we talk about him like he's a top 10, top 20 receiver. So I'm actually really curious to see how you guys go with this one. Is Odell Beckham Jr. still a top 20 wide receiver? I want you to type OBJ for yes, or we're going to have a little bit of fun, type no BJ for no. I'm sorry. He's not a top 20 dude anymore. Maybe when he's fully healthy, but until I see it for 16 games, I can't sit here and say that Odell Beckham Jr. is a top 20 receiver. The next player up here on Browns report is Jadeveon Clowney, ranked number 2. He basically signed a 1-year prove-it deal, and when I saw this deal go down, I was like, all right, you get him, and you pair him next to Myles Garrett. That's a recipe for disaster if you're a defensive or if you're a quarterback. But for this Browns defense, I mean, I like to move a lot here for Cleveland. Only played in 8 games last season and has only played a full season 1 time in his entire career. The other thing that always gets brought up about Clowney is the fact that he's never had a 10-sack season. The best year, in my personal opinion, for him was back in 2017 when he had 41 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 21 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. Like, that was the guy that everyone thought he was going to be when he was drafted number 1 overall by the Houston Texans back in 2014. But let's face it, he was bad last year in Tennessee. Tennessee will tell you that. Only 19 tackles, no sacks, 4 tackles for loss. He really wasn't all that spectacular in Seattle back in 2019. He was good against the run, but another time, he only had 3 sacks back then. All I'm saying is this, when you're the Browns and you're like, all right, we want to be that team in the North. We want to be the team that challenges the Kansas City Chiefs. If you get the good version of Clowney, the motivated version who's going to be looking for a fat paycheck, he's there. But I've sit here for the last 2 years, and said, oh, this could be the year that Clowney, really pans out. This could be the year that Clowney does it. I don't know if it's going to be it. So for me, it's a guy that definitely needs to step up. Another player that maybe has the most to prove this year, Grant Delpit, safety for the Browns. 2nd-round pick in 2020, but he missed the entire year with a ruptured Achilles tendon. And obviously, you never like to see that, especially for a young player. But I hear ruptured Achilles, and seriously, I know you can't see me doing it right now, but go feel your Achilles tendon. That's a tendon. It feels like a bone. Imagine that popping. Like, that can never be good. So when you see some of the moves that they made this offseason, that kind of tells me that maybe they're not 100% confident in Delpit. Like, you brought in a guy like John Johnson, who one of the best cover safeties in the entire league. You also brought in Harrison as well. So, like, if I'm Delpit, I'm like, okay, I'm a rookie, technically. I'm coming off a wicked injury, and they went out and made a lot of moves. On top of that, you're seeing some of the picks that actually came after Delpit. Antoine Winfield Jr., Super Bowl winner, and I think he actually just fit great with Tampa Bay. Also, Jeremy Chinn, great fit here with Carolina, where, Chinn was 2nd in voting in terms of Defensive Rookie of the Year, which I totally get, and that's going to happen when you have 117 tackles. Now, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him, which is okay, but luckily for him, there's also a lot of talent there for that defense. But when you look at right now the safety depth chart, that's the biggest reason why I'm sitting here saying that, okay, he needs to be able to show up. Not that I really am afraid of a guy like Harrison taking his job, or even a guy like Richard LeCount, who was a rookie coming out of Georgia. But the Browns spent big money, if you will, on Johnson. They added Harrison. They added another safety in the draft. So all I'm saying is, yeah, he needs to be able to step up. But out of these three players here, who has the most to prove? If you think it's Odell Beckham Jr., I want you to type OBJ. If you think it's Jadeveon Clowney, type JC. If you're going to go with Grant Delpit, type GD. I know the way that the article had it ranked was 3, 2, 1. But I might honestly sit here and say that I'm a believer that it could actually be Jadeveon Clowney, because he has not really been able to put up very good numbers the last few years. So call me crazy. I'm going to go JC.